start the meeting because we're ready. We start the meeting because it's time to start the meeting. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to the Newmarket deliberative session for our Newmarket town meeting. My name is Chris Hawkins. I'm the town moderator. The rules are over there for everyone to see. They haven't changed over the past couple of years. It's a long list of rules, but it's really pretty simple. The important thing to remember is if I make a ruling on any particular motion at any particular time, the meeting has the authority to overrule any decision I may make. If you we'll introduce the warrant articles one at a time. Unless the warrant is amended by the meeting, then it will go on the warrant as presented. So there's no motion unless there's a motion to amend it in some way or take some other action on it. If you wish to speak to a motion, please step to the microphone, tell us your name and your address just so we can confirm that you live in town. And before we get started formally, we need to do the Pledge of Allegiance, something I forget every year. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pardon me. I've got to start making a note to remember to do that before every meeting. Folks who are not residents of the town who may wish to address the meeting have to have permission from the meeting to do that. I make an exception for the town administrator and the chief of police or any other town employee who wishes to speak. And with no further ado, you're hereby notified to meet for the first deliberative session of the annual budgetary town meeting to be held in Newmarket Town Hall, Newmarket, New Hampshire, the third day of February 2018 being a Saturday at 9 o'clock in the forenoon. The first deliberative session will consist of explanation, discussion, and debate of each of the following warrant articles and will afford those voters who are present the opportunity to propose, debate, and adopt amendments to each article, except those articles whose wording is prescribed by state law. The voting day of the second session of the town meeting will be on March 13th, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. That being a Tuesday, polls are open from 7 to 7. And with no further ado, we're going to introduce the first article is for the to choose town officers for the following year. And we'll proceed to the second warrant article, Article T2, and I'll go ahead and read that since that is to see if the town will raise and appropriate as an operating budget, not including appropriations by special warrant articles, the amounts set forth on the budget posted with the warrant or as amended by vote of the first session for the purposes set forth therein, totaling $12,042,731. Should this article be defeated, the default budget shall be $11,632,790, which is the same as last year, with certain adjustments required by previous action of the town or by law, or the town council may hold one special meeting to take up the issue of a revised operating budget only. If passed, it is estimated that passage of this article will amount to $6.33 of the tax rate, which is a 20-cent increase over the previous year. If the article is defeated, the default budget will amount to $6.19, which is a 6-cent increase over the previous year. Majority vote required. Recommended by the Municipal Budget Committee 9-0. Recommended by the Town Council 7-0. And we'll have Mr. Fournier give us a brief presentation on the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The first item I just want to show is what the current tax rate is, and it's $26.73 per thousand. One thing that I just wanted to let everybody know that the portion that we're discussing right now is the 23%, which is the town, which is currently $6.13 per thousand. And this is just a 5-year comparison of the tax rates. The top one is the local school. The second one down is the town. As you can tell, it's pretty flat, $6.07 in 2013 to $6.17 in 2017, just for a comparison. The other important number that we look at is when we determine the tax rate, we have to look at the assessed value of the town because that's one of the important numbers to figure out the tax rate. We added about $19 million in assessed valuation over the last year. So we went from $731,700,728 to $750,973,881. So what that means is for every dollar of the tax rate, we can raise $750,973, where last year it was $731,700. The Budget Committee and the Town Council, as we mentioned, was recommending a bottom line budget of $12,042,731, which is a 4.57% increase over last year. The increase is $525,933. Enterprise funds, which are the water and sewer rates, is a decrease of $55,168, and all other funds is an increase of $581,101. This is the breakdown of the general fund, which is through taxation, which is the Town Council and Budget Committee are proposing $7,662,607. Special revenues, which are the recreation revolving, solid waste, and the library, is $1,155,086. The special revenues because money that they raise go back into their funds. And finally, the enterprise funds, which is water and sewer, is $3,267,438. So where's the increase going? $54,000 is for new finance software lease. Our financial software has come to end of life, so we have to get new financial software for the town. And also for software maintenance, this year we'll be operating 2 systems, so we have to have that additional money in there. $45,000 is going to sidewalk construction. $75,000 is going to a new operational repairs line. We do not currently have a fund that if we have a damage to a building or some kind of just regular operational repairs that we need to do, we have no money to do that. We have to go to a capital reserve. So we are placing $75,000 in the budget to be able to do that. $19,000 is going to a solid waste contract. We signed a new 3-year agreement with Casella Waste Management for curbside recycling as well, and that's $38,000. We're also contributing an additional $150,000 to building improvements, as well as $145,000 to road improvements for the coming year. One of the big things that we need to start addressing on our side is our infrastructure. We've been putting that off for many years, so we're starting to address that now. And on any situation, when we look at the expenditures, we also should look at our revenues. We're estimating that for revenues budget for next year is going to be $7,437,656. So a little over $400,000 increase in revenues for the current year that we're estimating. So finally, this is the estimate, is if we used all the numbers that we have today, what would the tax rate impact, what would the tax impact be? Again, current one is $6.13. We're estimating that if everything passes as is in the budget, it would be $6.37 or a 24-cent increase. The reason why there's a difference, if you notice, with the town administrator's budget was actually lower, but the tax rate is higher because we actually have additional revenues coming in on the budget committees and the town council side. So when you have additional revenues, it actually drops the tax rate. So we're anticipating a $6.37 tax rate. So what's the impact? If I can get this going. So the average home value in Newmarket is $280,000. Current town portion of the tax bill is $1,727 annually. So the proposed would actually go to $1,783 annually, or so the average homeowner would see a $57 increase in their town portion of the tax bill. And that is all I have, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Fournier. The floor is open for questions, comments, debate with respect to the operating budget warrant article, article number 2. Yes, Ms. Lockhart.
My question was, I I saw that it was for sidewalks, and I just wondered what sidewalks were.
The completion of Bennett Way, not Bennett Way, I'm blanking on the road, I'm fighting a cold. It is Bennett Way, sorry. It is the completion of Bennett Way. Because if you notice, right now, we went up about halfway up the road. It would be completing the circle to go all the way up to Bennett Way. Yep.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, motions with respect to warrant article number 2? Seeing none, warrant article number 2 will proceed to the warrant as presented. Moving on to warrant article number 3, to see if the town will vote to approve the cost items included in the collective bargaining agreement reached between the town of Newmarket and the New England Police Benevolent Association, Local 215, which represents the police employees, which calls for the following increases in salaries and benefits at the current staffing level. For fiscal year 2019, $98,003. For fiscal year 2020, $98,003. For fiscal year 2021, $34,562. For fiscal year 2022, $35,599. Fiscal year 2023, $36,667. And further, to raise and appropriate the sum of $98,003 for the current fiscal year, such sum representing the additional costs attributable to the increase in salaries and benefits required by the new agreement over those that would be paid at current staffing levels. Majority vote required. If passed, it is estimated that this article will amount to 13 cents on the tax rate, recommended by the Municipal Budget Committee 9-0, recommended by the Town Council 7-0. Is there going to be a presentation on this?
Yep.
Mr. Fournier.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This is a 5-year agreement between the police union and the town. As mentioned, there's a 13-cent impact in year 1. In year 1 and 2 of the contract, it's a flat $2.25 increase per hour for all employees covered by the collective bargaining unit. In years 3, 4, and 5, it's a 3% salary increase in their for those years. No other changes really in the contracts other than that.
Thank you, Mr. Fournier. Any questions, comments, motions with respect to warrant article number 3, the police union contract? Yes, Ms. Lockhart, please.
Why the big jump of 225 flat
I'm going to ask the
cross?
police chief.
Well, I'm Kathy Lockhart again.
Thank you.
What's the?
We're going to ask Chief True to address your question. Chief, please.
Kyle True, your police chief. That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. The police department participated in a pay study with the New Hampshire Chiefs of Police Association. And we do this every several years. And we want to find out if we are being competitive for the purposes of retaining our employees. And we found during this pay study that our starting pay and our officers with 3, 5, and 10 years were at the bottom level of the pay study. So in order to bring our officers to the median, not the high end of the spectrum or the low end of the spectrum, but to bring them to the median, we needed to do a flat rate the first 2 years to get them to the median. Does that help? I'd be happy to answer any other questions with regard to the contract as well, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Any further comment, question with respect to the warrant article number 3, the police union contract? Seeing none, warrant article number 3 will proceed to the warrant as presented. Warrant article number 4 is a petitioned warrant article. By petition, shall we allow the operation of Keno games within our town or city? I understand the petitioner is here. Mr. Nazar, if you'd if you would like to make a brief presentation. Well,
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. My name is Phil Nazaro, 7 Raymond Lane. So I was the person that brought this petition forward. This fall, I was pleased to see the town council vote to place the decision as to whether or not Keno will be allowed in Newmarket before the voters of Newmarket. I was, however, dismayed when the next meeting the town council voted to take it off the warrants and not allow the voters of Newmarket to make the decision as to whether to allow Keno in the town. So I believe that this decision belongs with the people, not with the council, which is why I brought this warrant article forward. And I think that the council's original decision was correct to allow the people of Newmarket to be the ultimate authority in our town. While telling a business they have to ask permission of the state or town to do something is a little bit crazy to me, I do recognize it's the law, so that's where we are right now. Keno to me is a win-win for Newmarket. 19% of revenues raised by Keno go to all-day kindergarten. 8% of the revenue stays with the business owner in this town. So yes, a yes vote on this warrant article allows both help for early childhood education as well as for business in this town, a win-win situation. So opponents will say that they don't like Keno funding all-day kindergarten. That's fine. It's a valid argument to make. That's a legislative issue that I highly encourage you speak to your state legislator and state senators about. Right now, this is the funding method available, and to say we are not going to allow Keno in the state because we don't like that this is the method used to fund all-day kindergarten is hurting children today who could be benefiting from that money. It's a little bit like cutting off our noses to spite our faces, or even worse, it's cutting off our business owners and kids' noses to spite politicians' faces, and I don't think politicians care about spiting faces very much. We should also remember that this is the argument that was used against the New Hampshire State Lotto in 1964. Since then, the Lotto has raised $1.7 billion with a B dollars to fund education in New Hampshire. As a New Hampshire high school graduate, I'm a direct beneficiary, therefore, of the New Hampshire State Lotto, even though I've never won Powerball. Well, I won like $5 once or something, but since December 11th, Keno has raised $1 million in revenue. That's over $18,500 a day. That's $190,000 in 54 days to help fund early childhood education in this state. That's $80,000 to help local New Hampshire business owners sponsor and continue their businesses in our communities. The final argument I've heard against Keno is that it's bringing gambling into the town. Well, just in case you haven't walked into a gas station or convenience store since the Johnson administration, there has been gambling in this town since 1964. Any convenience store in town is actively involved in the New Hampshire Lotto system and is a gambling establishment. It hasn't converted New Hampshire or Newmarket into some wretched hive of scum and villainy. Common sense also dictates that not every establishment in town would actually decide to bring Keno in. The business owner would make the decision themselves rationally as to whether or not it fits the character of their establishment. If Keno fits rationally, they'll bring it in. If it doesn't, they won't. I believe that the business owners have the right to make that decision for themselves. Not supporting this warrant article is truly saying that you don't trust the people or business owners of Newmarket to make decisions for themselves. I do trust the people, and I think that we should afford them the opportunity to make the decisions for themselves as business owners and as a community as to whether or not they want business owners in Newmarket to make those decisions. So I respectfully and humbly request that you vote yes on warrant article 4 and support the people, the businesses, and most importantly, the children of Newmarket and New Hampshire. Thank you.
Mr. Nazar, before you go away, if I can ask you a dumb question.
There are no dumb questions.
What's Keno?
So Keno is...
Some of us may not get out very much.
Yeah, and I got to tell you, like, I'm not really an avid gambler. It's not on my vice list. So Keno is like a betting system where sort of I've heard it described as like Powerball in miniature, where there'll be a screen in an establishment that has it that every few minutes will run like a set of numbers. You choose numbers like you would in Powerball, and if you hit the numbers, like a certain number of the numbers, you win a certain amount of money.
Okay. Thank you. Some
Any other
people may
questions?
actually not exactly know what it is, so.
Oh yeah, no,
helpful to
that's
have some
fine.
kind of
Does that make sense?
explanation.
Does that description make sense? I'm like not the expert in it. So.
That's the explanation.
Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Cahill, please.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Michael Cahill, Ashwamp Road, State Representative for Newmarket and Newfields. I have no objection to putting it before the voters. I just wanted you to understand that Keno is somewhat addictive, and they placed it within pouring establishments, which also gives you the opportunity to sell more alcohol, which is another problem we have in the state. I've been trying to work on having greater enforcement for the Alcohol Enforcement Division, because we have a lot of problem drinking, we have a high rate of DWIs, and I'm not sure this is going to be helpful in that aspect. The state is using this mechanism to fund kindergarten. Whether or not Newmarket approves it, we still get the money. I don't think it was the best mechanism. There are others, and put it to the voters. That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cahill. Anyone else? Any comment? Yes, Mr.
Just
Fournier.
Technical aspect, the town council must hold a public hearing on this, and it's going to be February 21st at their regular meeting. Nothing can be changed, it's just to accept comment at that point in time.
Thank you, Mr. Fournier. Yes, Ms. Lockhart. Thank you for coming out and asking questions.
Kathy Lockhart again. Is there some reason that prevents this from coming up to the next town meeting and being brought up again, or is it like a one-time deal that if we vote it down now, it will never be brought up again? It can never be, I mean, as far as state is what I mean.
It can, if it's petitioned again, or if it's put on the warrant by the...
No, I mean, is it like that everybody has to do it now?
No.
No, okay. So it's possible that if we choose not to do it, that at the next town meeting next year, we could bring it up again?
And in principle, assuming that it remains to be authorized under state law, sure.
Okay, that's,
Which I have no reason to believe it won't be.
that's just one of my things.
Mr. Cahill.
Just to
Just
follow-
a second, please, Mr. Does anybody else want to speak? If Mr. Cahill has already spoken, does anybody else want to speak before Mr. Cahill has an opportunity? Mr. Cahill.
Very briefly, just to follow on Ms. Lockhart's point, you can vote again to put it on, but voting to take it off if you decided that you didn't like it in town, that's going to be a lot harder lift. Thanks.
Perhaps if I misunderstood your question, Ms. Lockhart, if that's what you were intending to say, I didn't understand it that way, but thank you for the clarification, Mr. Cahill. Any other comments, questions on warrant article number 4? Seeing none, warrant article 4 is going to go on the warrant as presented. And if there's no further business to come before the meeting at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody? Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Dale. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thank you. The meeting's adjourned.
Oh, yeah.